Welcome to another episode of Positive Solutions for Life. This is Peggy Meyer. Today's guest is Dan Metcalfe. Dan is a living testament to the power of mindset, resilience, and human potential. From overcoming life-threatening injuries to pioneering breakthrough wellness strategies, Dan has transformed many lives. With a background as a professional performer, top athlete, Olympic development program head coach, mentor, author, and wellness innovator, Dan's insights bridge the gap between science and real-world application. As the founder of Total Balance Company and Born Superhuman, he's globally recognized as a leader in balance, mobility, and brain-body training, and is a sought-after keynote speaker and mentor in health, wellness, and performance. Dan's mission is simple yet powerful: to help people move with confidence at any age, enhance their body-brain connection, and unlock their full potential. So welcome to the podcast, Dan.
Peggy, thanks so much. I mean, on that intro, I feel like I'm an imposter sitting here because it sounds amazing. But I'd love to open with this. Everyone listening, it's not, or we're not defined by what we've done. We're defined by what we do with what we've done. And that becomes our legacy. So keep that in mind as we're talking through here. I'm no different than everybody else. It's just the suffering that I went through led me to where I am today, which in all reality, if we were all living our dreams, we wouldn't be where we are today. But thank goodness, because the impact is far greater than ourselves.
Yeah, I am so excited for this conversation. And I feel like it is going to be a deep one, but a powerful one. But I want to start out like, can you share a little bit more about you, your journey, and how it has led to where you are today? So even the listeners can get an idea of who you really are, even though I've said a lot already. But what is that? And who is Dan, really?
Well, I was born in England in a little town called Bournemouth, which was beautiful. My heart still lives there. And grew up wanting to be a professional footballer, a soccer player back in England. And got to a professional club and decided it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I envisioned. And I think so many of us go through that where we believed if we had this or if we achieved this, we'll be happy for life. But I think I was smart enough to recognize just because I'd given my life to that, it wasn't my destination. So I'd done 8 years with the Royal Marine Cadets. I was about to sign up for the Marines, started doing aerobics to get supple for mountain climbing. And the teacher there said, you should become a dancer. I'm like, what? Become a dancer? She goes, yeah. So she dared me while I was waiting for my papers to come through to go up and audition for this theatre school, Lane Theatre Arts Dance School, just outside of London. So I did it for a laugh. 2.5 weeks later, I'm in the dance school for 3 years on a full scholarship. Found out I could sing and act as well. And before I knew it, less than 2 years later, I'm in Andrew Lloyd Webber shows. For those that don't know, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Cats, Phantom of the Opera, Jesus Christ Superstar, Joseph Technicolor Dreamcoat. I went into Starlight Express, ended up playing the lead, touring the world, and opened a show for him in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Hilton. I was living a celebrity life. Everything was great. My face was the biggest sign, and a couple of others from the show in Vegas. My mum would fly in. There I am at the airport. And during a show one night, there was an accident on stage. I fractured my spine, and the doctors told me that I was paralyzed, and they told me I'll be disabled for life. So that was really the first awakening. I fought back, I recovered. I had to find my own team because those that were telling me were not invested in me.
Mhm.
And I'm a huge believer that we have to lead our own journey. If we wait for other people to discover for us and they don't care about us in the same way we should, then we're never going to excel and exceed. Came back from that, became a head coach on the Olympic development program, opened my own sports performance training centers, became Hollywood's expert to the stars, I've trained to this day over 70,000 people back to better natural recovery and health.
Mhm.
And then in 2018, out on a bike ride, because I've been racing the Ironman and on racing teams, had a metal gate hit me on top of the head when I was going through a guard gated community, knocked me unconscious, had a secondary impact when I hit the ground, already unconscious. I was out for about 3 minutes. Part of my brain died. I had to learn to talk again, learn to function, learn to move, train my brain,
Mhm.
and went through PTSD, massive weight gain, major depression, thoughts of what's the point? I was becoming a victim.
Mhm.
And thank goodness, because everything that happened was a gift if we wrap it correctly. And I know I've given you a long intro there, but that's what led me to where I am today by having to overcome and understand when people are suffering and going through things.
Mhm.
I may not have been exactly where they're at, but I've gone through what they're going through. And there's nothing better than being able to hold someone's hand and heart and say,
Mhm.
you are born to heal, you're made to heal, do the right things, and the miracle in the body will unleash your life so the best memories are ahead.
Yeah, and I feel like you need to unpack that a little bit more. And I feel like that's like an intro to Born Superhuman if I'm making that. Because like I'm looking at the background of you as like Born Superhuman as like wow, I mean, I truly believe we all have that gift inside of us to be able to do whatever we want to do. But oftentimes we are in situations and we're around people that might, kind of just dim our light a little bit. Like what really hit me was like, you got to find your own team because sometimes people around you aren't like there necessarily for what's really inside you. You have more inside of you than other people can see. And so having that right team around you helped you be able to heal. And that what you're talking about, we have that power within us. So go from there. Go from like, what is this superhuman book? And I'm pretty sure that's kind of ties in to what you were just saying. So you say it better. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that was pretty great as well in there, Peggy. So, thank you. People love victims. And why be a victim when you can be a hero for yourself first? And when I went on this journey, I never knew that I'd be inspiring so many people because I had to focus on me and find the path. But
Mhm,
we know when people build paths, others do follow. And
mhm,
I believe the greatest leaders are not the ones with the most followers. The greatest leaders are the ones that create the most leaders. So my part of this is looking at Born Superhuman. I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't have been gifted the opportunity to discover who we are.
mhm,
So if you think back to when we were born, and I love that you brought up dim our light, the moment of conception, when the sperm enters the egg, there's a flash of light. Now we know biologically that's because it's zinc being fired out that kills off other sperm so that it's not still trying to, enter the egg.
mhm,
We were created at the moment of conception with light and we're meant to shine. We're meant to live our light. Then we go through our, development within the womb, and then we're born. And the moment we're born, the doctor doesn't say, "Okay, Peggy, are you ready? I'm going to cut the umbilical cord." No, snip. And for the first time since conception, you're 100% on your own. Now we have doctors and we have machines and life support and all the other emergencies that we're going to help our system.
mhm,
But think about it as a baby, you are on your own and you found a way to get to where you are today. If
mhm.
that's not born superhuman, I'm not saying born perfect because perfection is just an opinion.
Yeah.
But all of us are born to heal. We're born to thrive. We're born to overcome challenges. And we should live everything we're born to live. So that's where the message of born superhuman, all of us are. It's not about me.
Mhm,
When we understand our greatest power potential,
mhm,
then we see that people are dimming our lights because they love victims, because they can control us and use us. And when I say use, I mean that lightly,
mhm,
to achieve their own goals. So I say we're either living our goals and dreams or we're helping build somebody else's goals and dreams.
mhm.
Invest in you.
Yeah, invest in us because we are the expert of us. We know there's something deeper inside of us, but oftentimes, like, there's messages that we come to believe that maybe we're not enough, like, and like, oh, these other people, we compare ourselves to other people, and it's like, oh gosh, I don't know, I've never suffered anything as tragic as Dan has, so like, what's me, But we all have our own gift inside of us to let it shine throughout the world. So, what are some of those things that you found that kind of make us dim our lights?
Well, first off, I think we're the only species, and certainly looking around it, if you ask anybody, tell me anything else that compares itself to somebody else apart from humans. And we're set expectations. When we were born, we unknowingly signed a contract with society that we would listen to them, believing that they had our best interest at heart.
Mhm,
And so we were taught to compare, to judge. An orange doesn't look at another orange and go, I need to be more orange. Or an apple doesn't look at an orange and go, oh, I'm the wrong fruit. I should be an orange. It just tries to be the best it can be
mhm,
and grow and utilize the resources, the sunlight, the soil, the contents, the water, all the other things to grow to be its best. If we had that same attitude and realized the only thing that we are best at in the whole world, and this goes everyone from, any great celebrity that you love down to somebody that works with you, nobody can be better at us than being us.
mhm,
And when we start saying, what's holding me back? And this is where, again, the brain injury was a gift for me
Mhm.
because I started studying the brain. And when you understand the brain that is your power force, you can rewire the brain. You can understand your brilliance. And that's my mission in life. Everyone listening, my goal is that you walk out of here today feeling stronger about yourself than you ever have since you were a kid. Because as kids, we live dreams, and age is never the reason to stop dreaming and again building the power you have.
Right, right. And I just like what holds people back is often their own thoughts and their own beliefs based on experiences or how they interpret the world. But we can be our own best friend and our own best advocate, or we can be our own worst enemy and our own critic, which a lot of us tend to go that way than, to build ourselves up. But what can start helping people achieve their potential? I think, you and I kind of like it starts from the inside out. So how can somebody kind of tap into their own potential?
Great question. We are what we think. We were told from a health point of view, we are what we eat, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
our whole existence is we are what we think. When babies are born, they have the same brain cells, number of brain cells, 86 billion brain cells that we have as adults. But what they don't have is the synapse, the way that
Hmm.
the information is wiring. And so what a baby sees, what they hear, what they're told, what they relates and wires the brain. Well, what we need to do is start looking at what are we thinking? What is our subconscious, which is what we've done over and over again. And we have to start looking. The brain is the most incredible technology in the world and will never be beaten, right? It's impossible. But like a computer, it can only function and operate off of what is being the information being given into it.
Hmm.
So we got to start looking at the information, say, what are we feeling? Or if I'm reacting a certain way, for example, I'm not good enough.
Hmm.
That's a subconscious reaction, not conscious, because it comes up before we think about it.
Hmm.
So we have to go into the subconscious, say, that's what's holding me back. Then we have to make it the conscious so we are aware of what we're thinking. And then we rewire the brain. This is my specialty, is rewiring the brain. And it's very easy. It just takes work
Yeah.
to then make the conscious that was the subconscious now our conscious,
Mhm.
and then allow it to become our subconscious. And when we can do that, we actually rewire the way the brain's thinking. So our thoughts are who we are, and our actions will result from our thoughts.
Right, right. And so, gosh, that was a great, how to rewire our brains because we do have to like pick it apart. We do have to pay attention and become aware of what is the little script that keeps going over and over in our head because it becomes a path, becomes like a super highway. I mean, we start out, maybe we catch this and like, oh, I'm not that good. But then we like information comes and we like attach things to it and it just becomes hardwired a little bit more. So we have to kind of snip it and like, okay, reprogram ourselves to be able to think differently in order to act and behave differently. And so you are a master of that.
Thank you. So I want everyone to remember this. It's a very simple sentence. Maybe this may be the most important thing that you'll get from this conversation we're having. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent.
Mm.
And the things we tell ourselves every day is what we're practicing. We're practicing that message. And going back to your point, Peggy, when we hardwire and continue to push that point, we will believe it. The brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fiction. It has no idea. It only comes off the information. And for someone listening, going, well, of course the brain knows the difference. No, it doesn't. And I explain why. Have you ever had a dream
Yeah.
where you wake up and you believe it was true, and maybe you're sweating or a nightmare, or maybe you're excited and you can feel your body temperatures up and you can't wait to get up, or you're scared to look around? You have to tell yourself that was a dream,
Hmm.
but your body is reacting because it believed what was going on, because the brain was going, I'm being chased. The brain said, there's my new bike. I can't wait. I'm excited. And you wake up in the morning. I've looked around the room going, where's my bike? And then I'm like, oh, it was just a dream. And then we're disappointed.
Yeah.
And so the brain controls the body functions along with the heart and the gut.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's our mindset that needs to be bulletproof to protect so that, again, the brain functions, the body functions, and our health becomes incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. How does somebody tell the difference between reality and not reality? I mean, like, because like, okay, if we wake up from a dream, okay, like, okay, I'm in this room, and we can kind of like go back and kind of think that, but a lot of times we just believe it. And we don't, how do you tell a difference between reality and not reality?
Well, I think it goes down to we see what we want to see. And
Hmm.
there's never been a greater time in the world that I've ever experienced looking back where we're so divided and split because what we see is what we believe because we were taught to trust.
Hmm.
And our natural organic reaction is not to believe that it's fake or that it's manipulated. And this isn't going on a political rant, this is going on about the brain.
Right.
And so once we believe something, the brain then would trust that it's true because it's been fed that information, which is why you can have somebody that looks at one thing and sees something. And we've seen it with pictures.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you see a
Yeah.
horse or do you see a
Right.
lady?
Yeah.
Right. And then we have to be shown that it's different because we now trust that what we've seen is how it's at. Now, let's bring it back to your audience. We have to look and say what is serving us, what is allowing us to function towards our dreams, and see the best in what's happening, not the worst. Because when we see the worst, it will force us to then become angry, create fear. Now, I'm not saying if something's bad, you don't look at it and go, that doesn't serve me.
Hmm.
That is not it. So if you look at something and say, that doesn't serve me, is it building my life or creating emotions that's ruining my time? Then it's not right for me.
Hmm.
And no is a beautiful word. I love the word no. We're taught to fear it or not want to hear it. But no is a capital N, capital O, and it stands for next opportunity.
Hmm.
And if somebody wants something from you and it's not good for you, it's a capital N, capital O, and it stands for never obligated. If I ask you a question, Peggy, what's the most valuable thing you have in life?
My health.
Beautiful answer. I'm going to take this a whole nother level if you'll allow me to. And
Yes,
this is for
go
everyone
ahead.
listening. I know how important health is to you
Hmm.
because you brought that up. The most valuable thing we have in life is time
Hmm.
because when it's gone, everything's gone. What we do with our time shows what's most important to us. So we got valuable or invaluable, actually, and then what's most important. And we have to look at that time and say, am I investing it into my impact and where I want to go? Or am I wasting time by getting involved in things that I will not change by following, but I can impact by leading?
Hmm. Very good. Very good. You're right. I mean, when you think about it, we only have a finite amount of time.
Yep.
And if we want to live our best life, how are we using our time? And I can say, hey, health is important to me, but that means I am spending time on my health. So whatever we're doing with our time reflects our goals, reflects what we think is important. And so somebody out there might go, well, geez, I'm starting to think of things that maybe not as important as I am doing a lot of. We can do, are we, binge watching TV, scrolling on those? Like, is that the most important thing to me? And we're like, no, like family is important, my health is important, but your time is an indicator of what is important to you because of your actions. So how to get people to change that?
Another saying that I love: the magic we seek is in the work we avoid. We know we should be doing it, but the magic we seek is in the work we avoid. And aging is the excessive pursuit of sedentary comfort. We get tired. We want to sit down. We don't want to put the work in. But I guarantee every single person listening in 1 week can improve the quality of their health and thus improve the quality of their life. And people say, well, I just don't have the time to do it. Well, we do have the time. And I'm not negating mothers' incredible jobs that they do. It's non-stop
Mhm.
and then having to work if they're working. But I mean, the hardest work, a lot of the men out there that think they got the hardest job but never have to take care of the home, it's tough, right? It's a full-time job. But what we don't have is discipline of time. But what we need to do then is say, what is it I really want? Because until we know what we really want, and so when I teach, the first thing I look at is what's your goal? What's your biggest dream? And I say biggest, not big. biggest. Because until we know where we want to go, we can't deconstruct the journey. We can't reverse manufacture the journey you need to do and then address it from step one. Because otherwise, we're just walking in different directions and constantly changing because, well, I don't feel a change. Well, the change is happening. We just don't feel it as it's going until there's a specific moment. So I really look at it. You've got to know what you really want. Then you have to discover, do I have the character and discipline to want to do it? Because it doesn't matter what we want. If you're not willing to do the work and step in and do it, and it's not hard work, it's disciplined work, it's commitment, it's investing in yourself. Self-love is not selfish. Self-love is critical for us to go where we want to go and live life. And then we have to look at it and go, okay, if this is what I want and this is the discipline, now I have to have the education along there to make sure it's going that way because a goal is only worthy of the effort it takes to achieve it. Because if it's not, we'll quit. If you make the goal too small, it doesn't hold enough value to want to do the work at the tough times. So again, answering your question, if I summarize that up, know what you want and make it the greatest, the biggest, the ultimate dream that you want to go to. Then work backwards to the start, looking at identifying points that will let us know we're still on the right journey. And then when you're at the start line, say, okay, do I have the commitment to do that? Because if you don't waste your time kidding yourself.
Right.
Don't pretend you want it and not be willing to walk the walk.
Mhm.
But if you do, everything is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we really are, when we're looking at it, do I have the discipline? You go back to what you avoid a lot of things. And what I heard from there is like, sometimes we're lying to ourselves. Like we think we want something, but we're not willing to put the effort in. So what are we really wanting? Then our goal must be, we have to like really look at our goal and what is it that we really, really want? Because if we really, really want something, we have evidence from our past that if we really want something, we'll do it. We'll put in the effort. We'll go do that. But so we have to make sure it's like aligning and that we're like within integrity with ourselves, because if we're going to avoid it, like there's some lies that we're telling ourselves and we need to clear those up. We need to be honest. Like, hey, I don't have the discipline for this. So how am I going to get more discipline? How am I going to commit to something? I mean, like that is the whole pieces together. So talk on that. Cause I know you're like, I'm seeing
Yeah.
you. And I'm like, ah,
No, I'm excited now because it's like we're getting to the nitty gritty now.
yeah.
Is that even an American word, nitty gritty? I don't
I
know.
mean, I hear it. So yeah.
Okay, great. So I didn't sound so English, but we get to the nitty gritty. I don't believe in hope. I think hope is a procrastination word for ourselves. Now, I can for other people. Peggy, I hope you have a great day. I hope you love this podcast. I hope people listening get something that actually changes their life.
Mhm.
But for me, I don't believe in hope. Hope is a procrastinator.
Mhm.
Right? I hope someone does this for me. I hope I find the time. I hope that I can achieve my goals. I hope the doctor will find the solution or there's a drug out there that will help me. What I have is believe.
Mhm.
Right? I have to believe because believe is an actionable word. If we believe we'll get what we want, we'll take the steps forward. And when I raced the Ironman up in Canada the first time, you're out there standing on the shore of Lake Okanagan, the cannon goes off, we go running in. But I learned, or I believed at that time, everyone that crosses the finishing line is a champion, right?
Mhm.
You've got a 2.4 mile swim, a 112.1 mile bike ride, 112-mile bike ride, and then a marathon. Just finishing, you're a champion.
Mhm.
Well, that day I learned I was wrong. On the way, I saw people that were ahead of me that crashed. I saw blood. I saw ambulances. I saw people collapse on the run, their bodies completely cramped up. Yet they'd done all the training. And I realized that day, every single person that was willing to step over the start line and take the journey, not knowing the road ahead, was a champion. Because some of those people I saw were ahead of me, they would have finished ahead of me. But something happened that derailed them and stopped them from the finishing line. But they were no less good than me or great than me because they didn't make the finish line. They still did the work. They were still fit. An accident happened. And I know those people will come back and do it again
Mhm.
because it's who they are. They're willing to take the risk. So, anybody listening, taking that first step over the start line is the most important step because you've already shown that you've got a champion spirit, a champion heart. Now, the discipline to continue the journey, and if it derails, get back on it as soon as you possibly can. That is who you are. The
Hmm.
ultimate measure of a man or woman is where they stand in times of challenge and controversy.
Hmm.
Find who you are.
Yeah. This is so powerful, so powerful. I want to go back because I feel like that point of hope, I feel like it's outside of ourselves. So, when you were explaining about hope, about, oh, I hope you have a good day. It's outside of us. So when it's like, oh, I hope I can do this, well, then we kind of put that control outside of ourselves. And it's not that internal drive that makes us that champion by deciding to start,
Absolutely.
because our champion is making a decision. I really feel like that is like the first starting point of our championship run. We do have to make a decision to start, to commit, to do the training, to put in the work. And then sometimes that final thing, like championship day, that game day, that, Ironman day, that testament to whatever we were practicing and having the discipline for is there. But we put in the work beforehand. And that makes us who we are. We just don't show up on the start day of an Ironman without even being disciplined at all, training ourselves, because things happen. We can't always predict an outcome, but we can do the work to be able to get us to the best of who we are. And then we can have to adapt to any of the challenges that come in the way. So as we move forward in this conversation, where you have given the listeners so much little tidbits and examples and nice, like, no, yeah, look at next opportunity. And what was the other one?
Never obligated.
Never obligated. All these little tidbits to put into practice. Where can they find out more about you and Superhuman, Born Superhuman, whatever you're up to? Where can they find more information about? Because this is a lot to like digest in one sitting. So re-listen, everyone, over and over again. Put Dan in your ear for like a week at least.
Thank you. Yeah, so Born Superhuman is based on the seven pillars of natural health. Right? It shouldn't cost you a penny to do the right things. It's only if we want to accelerate the process or if we need a little bit more help to kickstart. But what we're doing every day, we can just do better. So go to bornsuperhuman.com and you'll see my seven pillars for natural health. Very simple. There probably won't be anything in there new that
Mhm.
you don't already know, but it's how do I access it? How do I do it? How do I get onto the plan? Because again, education, the information we give to the brain will become
Mhm.
our consistent action. So there's that one. You can also go to totalbalancecompany.com. That's totalbalancecompany.com. I would just say proven, researched, data driven research groups. If you have good balance, you will live 8 years longer. And we're talking about eight quality years. They followed over 1,300 women over 60 years old. And those with good balance lived 8 years longer quality life. And that balance comes from the brain. We could go on about this, and I'm not going to drag too much time
Another
out.
another episode.
Yeah, and I'd love to do another episode. But balance comes from the brain, and everybody 40 and older in today's world of less activity, the connection from the brain to the body is deteriorating faster than ever before. So go and look at totalbalancecompany.com and look at how it works, because this is you protecting your brain and your body to live 8 years longer. And then on social media, you can look at Instagram, Dan Metcalfe _official, and Born Superhuman on there as well.
Awesome, awesome. I'll put those links in the show notes so people can easily access and get information about balance and about Born Superhuman. And so, as we wrap up today, is there anything that you have left unsaid that you want the listeners to hear or just know about?
I just want people to realize that you are born superhuman. When you look back to the little girl that is still inside you, or you look at the young boy that had the dreams, that had the passion, and slowly, from either responsibility or lack of encouragement from people not believing in you, we slowly dimmed our light. but that kid is still inside you. That dream is still there because sometimes we reflect back, I wish I had of, or I remember my energy, I remember my passion. We can unleash, because age is never the reason, the same passion and let that child relaunch the passion of life. You've just got to do the work, but don't shut that child out because all of you know there's more to you than people see.
Mhm.
And it's your responsibility with the right team, with what you're doing, Peggy, because you such an amazing mission that you're doing, supporting people to be their greatest self. Trust you. Find ways to slowly let go. It won't happen overnight,
Mhm.
but we only die once. Let's make sure that we're living.
Yes, let's live longer, happier, more fulfilled lives by one, getting in balance, brain body balance, so that we can live more quality of life, but then live it by sharing your dream, by sharing your gift, by sharing your light with the rest of the world. We've all been given a gift just for us. So let it out, let it shine, and let Dan help you by learning more about how to do that through Born Superhuman and Total Body Balance. Well, Total Balance Company. Sorry.
No, it's great.
Body balance too. So thank you so much for joining me. And we will definitely have to check back about another episode just on the balance piece because that is intriguing as well.